Hi everyone and welcome back to Stitches Past 5. My name is Vera and on this channel I share everything that's going on in my knitting life, sometimes a little bit of what's going on in my crocheting life. And today I want to take some of the European styles that are kind of already back or coming this winter, and some of the knitting patterns that I found online that you could make to kind of mimic those styles or to just kind of like knit in fashion. Now, of course, I live here in Europe and that's the style that I know and that's kind of what's familiar to me. That's also the style that I choose to wear myself. So I thought I would share a little bit of those, staples or things that are kind of like gonna be, from my research at least, or from what I've seen around, that are gonna be back or gonna be, in fashion this winter. Now, our winter style here is gonna be different to other places of Europe. Like Eastern Europe is gonna have a different style to where I am. I'm in Central Europe, I am in Austria. But I think I do have a pretty good idea of kind of like the things that are gonna be, on the horizon pretty soon. And yeah, I think as knitters, we're kind of like always kind of looking 2-3 months ahead. And in my head, that sounds like some winter items to be made pretty soon. Okay, so I'm gonna just share the things that I think are gonna come into style here. And then I'm also gonna share some knitting pattern ideas that I found online that kind of match those fashion trends or styles. So I have a bunch of patterns picked out, which I'm gonna share. Of course, there are so many online everywhere, but these are just some of the ones that I thought really match up with like the aesthetic or the look of kind of the trend. So the first one are these oversized, wide, pretty like boxy looking turtleneck sweaters. I think these look so chic and I really think they're gonna be pretty big in the winter, like even the really high exaggerated turtlenecks with the pretty big, like arm cuffs that often like the cuff will go like up until here from here and it'll be like a really baggy, very fashion, very chic looking turtleneck. Mainly I think they're gonna be around in neutral colors just because that just makes them a little bit even more elegant. And I have found a bunch of patterns online. This is the one that was the easiest to find because I think a lot of designers have a lot of turtlenecks up already. But here I was really looking for kind of the baggier, the bulkier style, just to kind of fall more into this style, into this fashion trend. The first one is the Amy Sweater by PetiteKnit. This one is a new pattern and it is like a bit of a shorter cut, but I think if you lengthen the body and maybe sized up one size from your regular size, you could achieve a really chic oversized look. The next one is the Lyon Sweater, also by PetiteKnit. This is already a larger size pattern, really going for the bulky oversized look feel. In the pattern they include stripes, but if you leave those out, you'll have a very, smooth silk, smooth slick looking oversized turtleneck, and you can always add the stripes for a fun little, playful addition. I love a striped pullover, and maybe this turtleneck will be one of the items that I knit this winter. The last PetiteKnit pattern that's an oversized turtleneck I want to share is called the Chestnut Sweater. This one is also just a kind of like a split side, high turtleneck, long sleeves, just really again falling into that style of the oversized sleek turtlenecks that I think we'll see lots around here this winter. Moving away from the PetiteKnit patterns, we have the Constellation Sweater by Ozetta. Again, a very chunky looking turtleneck, drop shoulder construction with a really thick ribbing at the cuff and at the bottom. Another nice one, cool one with an interesting shoulder, also a drop shoulder but like a little bit more detailing, is the Port Sweater, also by Ozetta. This one is again a little bit shorter, but of course the length can always be adjusted according to how bulky or how long you want it to be. Another one is the Winter's Pullover, also by Ozetta, and this one is probably the baggiest one of them all, with your drop shoulder sleeves again, big cuffs, just really to get into that cozy winter feeling, all while looking pretty fashionable, I would say. I also found some alternatives on Etsy that I wanted to share just to support the smaller pattern writers or the smaller creators. And here the turtleneck that stood out to me that would, I think, fall into this fashion trend is the Marvin Sweater. This one is by PetiteKnit, I believe, is how you say it. And this one is a little bit more of a mock neck, so it doesn't go up too far, but it is just, again, that really nice, this one is a raglan, oversized feel turtleneck. And then another one I found, and I promise this is the last one because this is already a lot of turtleneck patterns to choose from, but this one is also from Etsy, and it is the Cecil Sweater by also PetiteKnit. And this one has a little bit more detailing at the neckline, and yeah, drop shoulder with a big ribbing, and the sleeves are a little bit shorter here. I will just say that with these oversized turtlenecks, I think the key is your yarn choice, because I think what the kind of the fashion or the styles are moving towards is a very sleek look. So I think it's moving more away from the fluffy mohair look, at least for these turtlenecks. Of course, there's still gonna be lots of mohair fluffy sweaters around, but I think we're really here moving towards like a really, almost like a shiny yarn. So something that looks very elegant, something that looks very put together. And I think that yarn choice is gonna be key in, you know, how the turtleneck takes on kind of its character. In terms of the color that I think we'll see more and more of are the muted tones. So I looked at Pantene's color palette and they're all pretty muted tones. Mind you, that is of course a North American kind of organization that puts out the colors of the year. They put out the colors of the winter and they're all pretty muted, and those do influence kind of the European fashion that we get over here. Yeah, I really think it's a lot of beiges, a lot of grays, like a lot of light muted colors, I think is my prediction, so to say. So I guess yarn choice here is really key if you do want to follow those fashion trends. Okay, so now the next category, and this one is one that I'm actually really excited about, are polo sweaters. So essentially it's a regular sweater that kind of like opens up as if it was a polo t-shirt. So they have the collar and then they kind of go down, usually no buttons, but I've also seen some patterns with buttons around. Okay, so the patterns that I found where you can knit your own polo sweater include the Marcu polo knitting pattern of Etsy by Creatia Studio. This one is a short sleeve t-shirt, I guess, as a pattern, but I think you could easily lengthen the sleeves and have a long sleeve like pullover, a bit of a lighter top, maybe from the transition phase between autumn and winter, or also autumn depending on where you live. And here this one has a V neckline, like the polo style neckline that isn't too deep, which is something I really like about this pattern. The next one is a pattern by PetiteKnit, also a short sleeve. Again, you could quite easily lengthen the sleeves, working some decreases along the way. And this one is the Maude T. This one actually features 3 buttons down the front, but I think those could also, you know, you can make them quite subtle. Maybe you could omit them, but then you would have quite a wide opening. Maybe you can shorten the front if you don't like the buttons, but otherwise this raglan construction of a polo t-shirt would be really, really nice to wear, I think. The next one is the Charlie Pullover knitting pattern, and it is also a pattern off of Etsy. Again, the designer is moreca. This one features some fun stripes and a quite pronounced polo part, so the collar is quite big and pronounced, with quite some overlay according to the pattern of the collar and front. This one also has kind of like the oversized, more boxy fit, which I think we will see more of this winter. And it's overall just a really pretty pattern that I think would be really fun to make. The next one is a pattern that's actually for free, and so this one is by Originally Lovely, and this pattern is called the Polo Sweater knitting pattern. And yeah, it's essentially your basic polo sweater with quite a wide or low neckline. So if that's something that you enjoy, then I think this would be a really nice pattern for you. It also uses a raglan construction with relatively narrow ribbing at the bottom and on the sleeves. Then we have a classic one that I've actually also made myself. However, I made this one in a summer yarn with short sleeves, but this one is the Elizabeth blouse. And this one is also by PetiteKnit. It features, again, a pretty low neckline. So I think if I were actually to make this one again, I would shorten the knitting I do up until I join it for the neckline, because for summer, yes, it works and it's quite low and it's airy, and I made it out of linen yarn. I will make this pattern again. It was a lovely pattern, but when I do, I will be sure to be shortening the neckline a little bit, just because I don't really enjoy a really low neckline, especially during the colder winter months. Otherwise, this one again features a very pronounced polo construction at the top, quite wide, collar width, which I think is really nice for this pattern. And yeah, personally I can recommend this one because I've actually made it just with shortened sleeves. So another style I think we'll see plenty of this winter are vests. So whether that be in a button-down form or in a open form, maybe even like as a closed version, but I think here I want to really focus on the open vests. I think we'll see a lot more of those. We've kind of seen them throughout the summer, just like in lighter fabrics, maybe in cotton fabrics. So I think those will really make its way into winter. And I think they're also something that a lot of people are gonna gravitate towards when they're working in the office, and they just need a little bit of a lighter base with something just to give them a little bit of extra warmth. I've seen it a bunch around here, and I think it won't go away that quickly because people are really understanding how handy these vests are. Okay, so some vest patterns that I found online that I think would be really nice to knit this winter are the Maggie vest by PetiteKnit, which is a round collar vest with buttons down the front. Now in the pattern, it's worn without anything underneath, so you might just need to size up a size or two in order to fit like a thinner sweater or a blouse underneath. Yeah, I think this one would be a really, like, kind of depending on the neutrality of the color you choose, I think it would be a really timeless piece that you could wear lots and lots on top of many other items of clothing. The next one is vest number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. This one is a similar construction in that it is a button-down round collar vest featuring some ribbing at the top, down and up on the sides. And yeah, similar to the PetiteKnit one, I think this would be a piece that you could gravitate towards more and more as time progresses. Then another My Favorite Things knitwear pattern is vest number 5, and this one is a little bit of a thicker gauge, and it even features some pockets, which I think is always a plus. It is an open vest with no buttons, and it does have like a little bit more of a rustic feel, so I think it would be perfect on those colder like autumn days when you just like need a piece of warmth on top of yourself without wanting to hop right into like your thickest sweater that you have. Next one is the Avery vest by Nicolene Sophie Knit. This one features a V-shaped neckline, and it is fully open with no buttons down the front. Again, this one I think would be a really, depending on the color you make it in, neutral piece that you can wear on top of basically anything to give you that extra piece of warmth. So I think vests are always like a really nice additional neutral piece that you could always throw onto any outfit basically to give you a little bit of extra warmth, all while looking pretty chic and pretty fashionable this winter. Okay, then I want to move on to more of the accessories. So the first one, and I think this one kind of made a pretty big like appearance last winter, and I do think we'll see a lot of these again this winter, are the mini scarves. So I know that this is more of a, like, definitely more of a European thing. I'm not sure if it's really that big in North America, but here a lot of people wear their cute little mini scarf that just kind of elevates any outfit. You could literally be wearing a tracksuit, and if you wear like a nice scarf, you will look a lot more put together. And the one, of course, that kind of revolutionized the knitting world to also jump on this train of mini scarves is the PetiteKnit Sophie scarf. I think this one is one of the most, you know, knitted patterns. You see all the cute little croissants rolled up online. And I think depending on the vibrancy of the color, this can be the centerpiece of your outfit, but it could also be just like a little accessory on the side. And I will definitely also be knitting my own mini scarf. So if you do not want to spend money on your mini scarf pattern, I did find 2 free ones, and the first one is from knittingpattern.org. I tried to find who the designer is, I couldn't find it, but the pattern is called the Simple Thing Scarf Free Knitting Pattern, and it is essentially the same thing. It is a mini scarf that, yeah, you can, I guess, customize also the size of a little bit. I think this one does look a little bit larger than the Sophie scarf, but I'm sure if you use a smaller gauge, you can also achieve a more, you know, put together or a little bit of a more sleek, smaller look with this pattern. And then I did find one that's a little bit larger, so this is a bit of a more chunky mini scarf. Depending on how you wear this, I think this could also double kind of as a cowl or as like a, you know, like a small little blanket that you could probably get your whole upper body into. And this one is called, this one is by Önling, and it is called the Dip Dye Scarf. Again, this is also a free pattern and even features some color changes, but I think if you're looking to make it monotone, then you can also definitely adjust the pattern accordingly. Those are the only 3 patterns I'll share for the scarves because I think they're all pretty similar in their construction, and there are really a lot out there. Okay, then the last winter trend I think we're gonna see quite a bit of are neck warmers. So essentially neck warmers are these, I kind of look at them as turtlenecks that just kind of like stop like here, and they're cut so that you have like a flap at the back and the flap at the front, and then you just kind of like wear it, and you can wear it on top of a blouse, you can wear it on top of a sweater, and it just really keeps your neck and your chest and your back warm, but it also looks really, really elegant in my opinion. I personally love the neck warmers just because whether I'm at the office or I'm out shopping, I will always have a little bit of extra warmth, and also know that it's a cool accessory that just kind of like is always gonna look good, right? All right, so again, I have found a couple of patterns that do differ a little bit, because I think with neck warmers, you can have like the one that kind of is more of a scarf up here, or you can have the ones that reach all the way to the bottom. And I think personally, I would go for the one that goes all the way down to the bottom, because then it kind of doubles as a vest, because I have the one that kind of acts as a scarf and I love it, so I kind of want to, you know, get more into the whole neck warmer thing. And the first one is the Terrazzo Neck by PetiteKnit. This one is one that features this detailed ribbing down the side and at the bottom, and has this very chunky, very sleek looking turtleneck at the top. The next one is called collar number 3, which reaches about halfway down to your chest, or depending on sizing, I guess, a little bit further up, a little bit further down. This one features, I believe it's brioche stitch, if I'm identifying it correctly from the image. And it also features this beautiful like decreasing here that's just visually very interesting. So that's collar number 3 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. The next one is a pattern off of Etsy. This one is called the Neck Warmer pattern, and it is by Trendsknitting. This one looks like it's knit in or it's meant to be knit in a little bit of a more fluffy yarn. So if you're really into the fluffy and soft look and feel, then this one might be for you. This one does reach all the way down, features a turtleneck and the ribbing at the bottom. And then the next one that kind of jumped into my eye just because of its beautiful featured ribbing again is the Nellie Neck Warmer, also by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And this one is one of the ones that just kind of like sits a little bit more high, that might just be a little bit more convenient when you're wearing really thick winter jackets, because then not too much gets into the way of what is already probably a lot of layers going on during the winter. So those were kind of my insights and predictions of things that we're gonna see around this winter. So if you needed some inspiration of your winter knitting plans, I hope I was able to share that with you or give you a little bit of that. And I do like looking for patterns that if I do it correctly and if I put a lot of effort, it will look store-bought, because that's what makes me feel really proud in my knitting. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment down below. Maybe let me know what knitting styles or what fashion trends you like following. Do you even follow them if you're choosing your next knitted item or knitted pattern? Yeah, and give this video a like, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care, bye bye.